Today we'll be talking about the Cool Kid lore, and I'm going to be making like Walter's lore, not the Cool Kid lore, but I'll be talking about Caleb specifically. The name alone sends chills down the spines of anyone who knows the Cool Crew lore. But what if we only seen the surface? Because Walter hasn't posted enough lore for me to make a full accusation and be confident about it. Because right now I'm a little bit shaky on my lore, because I've been partially wrong about some of the lore, and I'm not ready to make a full-blown conspiracy theory like some of y'all, because I've seen some theories that drove me to madness, because we hear the creator say that he is mentally okay, because I have to emphasize that every video, because there are some people in my class who watch my videos for some reason, and they think that I'm not mentally okay. Yes, I am mentally okay, please. But, without further ado, let me actually get into it. So, we all know Caleb, who was the alcoholic dad, that adopted Caleb for his own wrath and greed. But, what if we've only seen the surface? What if Caleb's cruelty wasn't just, random? Today, we dive into the brand new theory. One that might just explain everywhere. Or, not everywhere, everything. You know what I mean. Everyone knows that Caleb's dad was not the brightest person. This man looked like something that you might see in a horror movie. And no offense to Walter's art. His art is amazing. Well, you get the point. The dad looks like someone you do not want to mess with. But, we know that he's abusive, selfish, and driven by greed, and loves torturing his son, or loves torturing his adopted son. Same thing, get it? But, what if, Caleb wasn't always like this? What if he's, kind of like the Grinch, and he wasn't always just this abusive and, bad towards Nathan? Because we already know, the theory that he might have had a wife, is gone because he's always been single. So, my theory, Caleb grew up in a home where emotions were forbidden. That emotions made you weak, and it was eat or you get eaten. And many of people do live like this, which is the very sad truth. And Walter does enjoy making these type of stuff, and we're going to talk about some really proactive stuff. So if you're not comfortable with that, maybe you should skip this one. But it wasn't exactly abuse, not violence, but just emptiness, the type of silence that you get when you did something wrong. Caleb was the star child, the type that that other people would be like, I wish my kids were like that. But behind it, Caleb's parents were mean, and not the type of parents that you would want to see. They had a family YouTube channel, and every boy and girl at that age, or in that era, had to be jealous of him. He had everything he could possibly dream of. Sponsorships, and, toys, and was the most popular kid in school. But behind that facade, or I can't even say facade, behind that mask, we see that Caleb is a broken and abused child, but not abused. People can't label it as abuse. It just feels wrong. His parents fight all the time, and he feels trapped every time he enters his home. He feels that no one will believe him because he's just a kid. He could be making false accusations, and the channel is growing, and his parents are milking him every last drop. His house is where no one talked, nobody cared, and nobody taught him actually how to feel and actually have a personality other than the personality he showed outside. So when he did become an adult, he did not know how to love. He only knew how to take and put on a mask that led him to be a horrible father. Section 2. Why he adopted Nathan. Oh, Nathan. Canyon says that Caleb adopted Nathan to cope with his own mental issues. So that's flat and flat. But what if there's more to it that we're getting close to or getting fed of? Because if we see Walter's videos, he does not make too much about Nathan, but he doesn't make too much about one part of the crew. He does mainly do Brandon, which is the blue guy, if you forgot, the guy that I'm drawing right now, and he's more of the center main character, but he still just drops some lore, and he doesn't drop a lot of lore on Caleb's dad, though. It's mostly on the kids of the crew. What if Caleb didn't adopt Nathan because he wanted a child, but because he wanted a mirror? A mirror to his own childhood. To make him feel the way he felt when he was younger. To make him feel threatened, annoyed, or not safe in his own house like he did. Because there's no way he could have just adopted him to just abuse him for no reason, and he didn't have a dark childhood or something. Nathan reminded him of himself, not in a loving way, but in a way that made Caleb feel powerful. He had control over him. like he liked to make him feel weak or like he doesn't belong like he did. Even though I don't think Nathan went to school, I do think he went for some form of education, like homeschooling or like those like when you get on Zoom, like yeah, that type of homeschooling. Because there ain't no way Caleb taught him. But we getting off topic. But I think for the first time in his life, he had control over something that made him feel like he had everything and he could finally grasp or grab something, hold on to something other than the trauma of his childhood. And I felt like that control became an addiction. I do think that Caleb once had hope and did love himself and did think that he could love Nathan like he used to love himself. But when Caleb locked Brandon inside his own house, people assumed it was rage. But what if it was a strategy on coping with his feelings of regrets of how he was raised, or you regret that he didn't regret, like, I don't know how to explain this, but like the regret that he didn't do something about his unhealed trauma sooner. My theory is that Caleb, or the new Brandon, was the only one strong enough mentally and physically to protect Nathan, because I do think he's the oldest in the group, because he is shown to be taller than everyone. And I'm not saying because he's tall he's the oldest, but I am saying that since he looks like the oldest and has the most mental stability, Caleb removed him because he saw he was the only one that actually could protect or help Nathan, reach out to Nathan, call CPS and stuff like that. So he removed him. Caleb didn't just want Nathan under his control. He wanted Nathan to be dependent on him and alone. Sophia's death wasn't caused by Caleb, but what if Caleb influenced it? For example, maybe Caleb's presence in the town created a ripple effect. Fear, tension, instability, instability, and just a smell of regret. And kids acted out. Kids acted out because of him. And when the kids saw that nobody was doing anything about this random dude that was just over here stealing a kid, bullies got bolder and people became desperate. Sophia did a deal that caused her or led to her death. Sophia's tragedy wasn't Caleb's direct doing, but he created the environment that made that possible. If you know what I'm saying. So I think his wrath and greed aren't just traits that Caleb has. I think that it's stuff that actually resembles something. My theory that Caleb is the human embodiment of emotional starvation. Wrath is the anger that he never learned to control. And greed is the emptiness that he's trying to fill. But his cup is never full enough for him. For example, him drinking is a way to fill his greed or desperation to something to hold him, but it's not working, as we can clearly see. So he doesn't want love, we can see, and he doesn't want to be understood. He wants possession and control. He doesn't want family, he just wants obedience, which is a clear symbol of why he adopted Caleb. Because my question is that why would he adopt Caleb other than to keep him isolated and to feed his own greed? Think about that for a minute. Here's the final twist. The darkest part of the theory is that Caleb doesn't see himself as the villain. He sees himself as the villain. He sees himself as both sides. He sees himself as the victim. In his mind, he's the one who's forgotten, he's the one who's abandoned, and he's the one that deserves all the glory. And he's the one that should be saved. And now he's making someone else suffer the way he suffered because he can't handle the pain and trauma that he never learned to process. Caleb isn't a monster because he enjoys hurting people. Well, he does, but he doesn't. He's in middle. He's in the middle. We can see, but he's a monster because he thinks it's the only way he has to survive. Let me know if you want part 3, because Caleb's story is far from over. But for now, here's the animation that I finished. It's barely done from finished. So I'll play it for you, but it's really bad. Yeah, I was lazy with this. So, explainers and entertainers, future kings and queens, I hope you had a fun time hearing my theories, but it's time to go. Until next time, my loolies, or my oodadollies. It's just a word for my friends. Bye.